On this show, and no attorney-client relationship is created by calling or writing in. Attorney Rominger practices only in Pennsylvania and maintains his primary office in Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Hey, Dan's just trying to feed me some taffy chews or something. I'm not sure why, but 540-0580, call in and we'll answer your legal questions here on the air. And, of course, if you're joining us, you didn't hear the first hour, you can always hear the podcast live on WHP580.com or weekendappointment.com. But, of course, here in the second hour, we're going to still be here live at Shooting the Axe. I'm joined by Dan Parsons, the owner of that. He's going to have a grocery shoot tonight at 7 p.m. They got this wonderful indoor archery facility. They got this great waterfalling shop. So if you're driving around the area, you're just bored, you're a hunter, or you like to target shoot, stop in. And, of course, the shoot tonight, kids 15 and under shoot free. It's a grocery shoot. They're going to give away a quarter prime of beef and a gun, so you can't really do better than that. 540-0580. As always, I'll be answering your legal questions as we go here. I'm going to turn to Matt before I get back to Jeff. Matt, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, brother. What's going on?
Well, about 6-7 weeks ago, I was driving in Harrisburg. I was in 83 North, and I got pulled over by what I assumed to be a police officer. It's an unmarked car. He wasn't wearing a uniform, and he refused to show me his badge or give me his badge number. And I didn't get a ticket right then, and I wasn't actually doing anything wrong. He cut me off, and I hit my horn and made a friendly gesture at him. And then he turned the lights on and pulled me over. But he said he was going to mail me a ticket. And I mean, is that legal, or should I be contacting a lawyer? Should I expect the ticket?
Did you get a ticket?
No.
Okay, and you say, did he have actual police lights on his car?
He had police lights on his car, but, I mean, I've seen, some good old boys at the firehouse put them on, so.
Right. Yeah, which makes me curious because, theoretically, any legitimate police officer is going to show you your badge, show him a badge. Dan, what do you think about that?
I think it's, what you're saying is peculiar. My situation in this is if you think someone's not a cop, they probably aren't, because I think all cops have a mentality when they come up. And if that hair on the back of your neck standing up, I think you're probably right. But to answer your other question, could he send you a citation? Yes, he could summons you a citation. You could receive that up to 30 days. So that's legal.
Yeah, the interesting question is, out of uniform and with no badge, he might not have authority to pull you over. I don't know. Depends on where he's at. So, anyhow, absolutely, if you get anything. But, when I was a kid, I used to deal with some guy who thought he was a game warden, too. So come along and check our traps and give us a hard time. And then I found out eventually that he didn't actually work for the state. So, anyhow, is that helpful?
It is. You said it's 30 days is the time limit then?
Yeah, generally they have to issue the citation within 30 days.
Oh, then I'm fine, because this was well over a month ago, so.
Yeah, and see, here's the dealio, though. I'm not even thinking you're really getting a citation. It just sounds odd. I'm not going to give you my name. I'm not going to give you my badge number. I'm not going to even tell you what department I work for. I mean, a little weird, right?
Didn't give me anything. I mean, he had police lights on his car, and I mean, he was dressed in a suit and an overcoat. So.
Ask him if they were red and blue.
Yeah.
Were they red and blue lights?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
And it was a Crown Victoria, so I mean, I know
right.
the police do use those, so.
Right. In fact, I actually almost bought myself a Crown Vic Interceptor one time because they come with the pre-installed factory legal tint that the police hate.
Nice.
All right, my friend. Take care.
All right, thanks.
540-0580. We're live here at Shooting the Axe here in Carlisle. You get a chance to shoot for free at this very nice indoor range. If you don't have a chance to make it down and shoot against me for free and win other free shoots, then come in at 7 o'clock tonight. Jeff, you're back on the air with me.
Yeah, I'm trying to let everybody know about the 27th Amendment and that our government basically ignores it, and that our government passed a bill to not take COLA this year in 2011, and the president signed it, which means it's a law, which they don't have the right to do. Correct? This is a
well,
that says they
that's
can
interesting.
pass no law that changes their pay. And if
Right.
If the president signed, I'm saying their whole COLA law that they have is illegal.
But I think did you talk with me about this once before, or did somebody else call in and talk to me about the 20?
I talked to you about this, and the point was, you said it's a law and it's a previous law, but if they pass a new law to say we're not taking it, it's a law, right?
No law varying the compensation for the services of senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened.
Yes.
So no law varying the compensation.
So if they say we're not going to take COLA, they can't even do that. It's against the law. It's against.
That's interesting.
Right?
Well, it didn't vary the compensation. It just says it stays where it is. It won't go up. Right? Isn't that?
Yeah. But
all
I'm saying is it should have gone up, and they passed a law that says it won't.
That's what I'm saying is, but they're going to say no. We didn't vary it. We stopped it from varying. We
Right. But
I think that would be
on years that they done. All I'm saying is basically the law says in odd number years, you can't give yourself a raise, and it should be that way. And
right. And of course, and that's an interesting question whether they're varying their compensation at this point or not. They're saying we're not going to take COLA.
Right. But on years they do, then they vary it.
Right.
And they can say that's you can't have it both ways.
But remember, as I told you, my interpretation was that the law can take, how did I say this? I'm pretty sure I said that no law varying compensation shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. But if you put in that original law an automatic raise, I think you can get away with it. That's the problem.
Right. But now they just passed a new law that says we're not going to take compensation.
I know.
So
I feel your pain.
And all I'm saying is they should pass a law that says the representatives and senators are only going to take COLA every 2 years. And that's what the amendment was really about. And the other question I have was about the new patent law.
Yeah, what do you want to know?
Did they essentially get rid of the provisional patent provision of the patent law?
I haven't studied it at that level yet. All I saw from my brief overview is, as I understand it, the biggest, most radical change is it's now going to be first to file, not first to create.
That's right. And under the old law, there was this thing called provisional patent, which gave you 1 year to file your patent, and it sort of registered, I have a patent, here's what it is, but I'm not quite done, creating all the what's and wherefores, and it doesn't become public.
See, the problem that this creates is it means that any big organization with lots of money and capital will file patents on anything and everything that they can think of as fast as they can because that gets them through the door. And then they beat out the guy who actually thought of it 2 years before, but who doesn't have the wherewithal or the knowledge or the institutional backing to get his patent application together as fast.
Right.
So
but my question was, did this essentially there's a function called a provisional patent?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know how it's going to affect that concept of a provisional patent or whether that would still be first to file. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that this brings us in line with the majority of the world, but arguably being in line with the majority of the world isn't always in our best interest.
And for Constitution Day, tell your representatives to support that, to enforce the 27th Amendment.
All right, Jeff, you are a crusader for the 27th Amendment. I appreciate that.
Take it easy.
All right, take care, brother. 540-0580, Muhammad.
So, first-time callers, I always listen to you. I have a questions about domestic. I have a good job and a steady job, and I paid my dues to get this job. And my ex, he's always after me every time I get a raise for more money. I am responsible. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I pay my child support on time. I go to domestic, and I always face this employee or the court, and she always have that kind of discrimination against me, and it's always make you feel like a runaway in the field of, I'm saying, that the runaway fathers, and I'm always on time of paying my bills. And she's always discriminate, and she goes and recorded everything when I asked for the judgment that she took. It wasn't fair, and I told her, no, you're adding up a lot of extra overtime that I do, plus you're adding up my income taxes, and income taxes varies from 1 year to to another. And she just said, this is how it is. If you want to take it to court, I advise you that I'm going to send it to Mr. Janine's, and she doesn't like men, so you have to take it as it is. I am just asking, can I take a lawsuit against this person for discriminating in this office, for mistreating a law-obedient citizen to a runaway citizen?
Well, the short answer is I would strongly recommend that you take it to court and appeal the decision through, because unfortunately you're going to say you're discriminated against, and she's going to say, hey, he never filed the appeal. How do we know what the court would have done, or if they would have upheld what I did? Do you have a lawyer that you deal with for your domestic relations matter?
I am between lawyers, because the lawyers I had in that meeting, he just sits and he seems like they're all groupies and they all gang up against you, and you have to approve with their decision, either you like it or not. You know what I'm saying? I said, listen, it doesn't pay to have a good job in this country for someone running after your money all the time. So I'm just going to quit. She goes and record all these things that I say without letting me know that she's recording this, and she's going to submit this with the Court of Appeals in front of Ms. Janine's or Judge Janine's. And she warns me that Ms. Janine's should discriminate against me, either I like or not. How could a federal employee warn me and tell me there's a judge discriminate against men? Can I sue this person, or can I complain against this person?
You could certainly file a complaint against that person. Yeah. All right, my friend. I think what you need to do, though, is get with a good domestic relations lawyer and sit down and see what you can figure out. We have guys in my office. Rob Culling, for instance, does family law. He'd probably be happy to sit down with you and kind of go through the numbers and see where you really sit versus where you should be. All right?
Call?
Robert Culling in my office.
Robert Culling.
All right, Muhammad. Take care.
Thank you.
I got to go to break. 540-0580. Carl Rominger here at Shooting the X. Stop in. You get a chance to shoot against me. If you win, you win some more free shooting. But it's free to use this wonderful facility today. So come on in. I'll be done around here at 4 o'clock. And then at 7 p.m. tonight, they're doing a grocery shoot. So come on in for that. 233 Allen Road. The phone number down here is 254-1701 if you need to know more. See you after the break. Well, I think if Hollywood Casino is going to run ads during my show, they should give me like $5,000 in free chips. That's what I think. But anyhow, 540-0580. Call in with your legal questions. And I like this music. I am live. It's going to get pumped up now. I'm live at Shooting the X in Carlisle. And if you don't know what that is, that's a combination. Basically, it's a good play. If you like to hunt, you like to fish. They've got waterfowl, trapping supplies. They got this new archery wing. And if you want to call it a wing, it's about 40 yards long. It's kind of like the spruce goose, about the size of the wing of this thing. Anyhow, if you come down, you can shoot for free. And more importantly, if you're not understanding they're having a grocery shoot tonight, that's what I used to call meat shoot when I was a kid. You know, you come down and you win food and prizes. 15 and under is free. They're going to give away a quarter of a prime beef over the course of the evening, and the last shoot will be for a gun, most likely. Probably the last shoot. But anyhow, you can do pretty well. It's a $20 entry fee, and you can actually go home with some groceries, so to speak. 540-0580. Carl Rominger here, and as always, I'm answering your legal questions. Let's see who's up next. I'm not sure yet. Let's see. We don't have Muhammad anymore. Muhammad was complaining about domestic relations, and he sounded very upset. And I understand that. And it's very difficult sometimes for people to understand that they have to pay money for child support. Conversely, the people who get it never think they get enough. And unfortunately, the reality of raising children in this day and age is they're very expensive, and the government can only try to reallocate the income. They really just can't make more of it. So it just never feels fair for either side. Frank, you're on the air with Carl Rominger.
Hey, how you doing, Carl? I have
Good.
a question in regard. I have power of attorney for an individual and her daughter. The daughters of mine are 7 years old. The daughter is right now in the custody of the grandmother. Children and youth from Cumberland County is involved in this. There's a hearing coming up on the 26th for an initial placement review hearing. And what I want to know, if the mother of the child, who I have, again, durable power of attorney for her and the daughter, doesn't show up or is not going to go, can I go to that hearing at all?
Well, you're her attorney in fact, but the court could still require her presence for purposes of determining if she could have custody of the child or should have custody of the child. In other words, while you may transact business on her behalf as attorney in fact, and you can't act as her attorney at law, although, however, with power of attorney, at the same time, if I'm a judge, I'm not going to award custody to somebody who doesn't show up in my courtroom.
Right. Well, the mother's not going to get custody of her. Right now, what's going to happen? Eventually, the grandmother's going to wind up getting full custody of her, because the conditions for her to get custody back for the child, she's not meeting them as far as getting a job and going to drug treatment and alcohol treatment and all that kind of stuff. She's not doing any of that. So eventually the child's going to wind up with the grandmother. But the grandmother is worse than what the mother is. She's an alcoholic, which children and youth doesn't know about this, and what her past history, and really she can't even afford to take care of the granddaughter.
Right. Well, these are things that you should definitely try to bring to light.
For the hearing.
For the hearing, yeah, but I'm not sure. You just got to make it available. I'm just not sure how they're going to deal with you. I don't know if the power of attorney gives you the right to speak at that hearing.
Yeah, I'm not a blood relative, so I don't have any standing at all. They may not even permit me to go to the hearing.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. But you should at least get that information to the mother's attorney.
Okay, yeah, there was an attorney, I guess, appointed, Schultz, guy by the name of Schultz or something. It's in Cumberland County.
Yep, he's a good man. So she's in good hands. I know him. He's a very good man.
Okay, so could I talk to him in the event that because you can't get through to her. So I could call him before the hearing and let him know?
Yeah, I would. I think he would. Listen, it's sort of like when I have a psychiatrist working with a client,
like
a psychologist. Yeah, no. I think you're in good hands with him.
Okay. Hey,
all right, my friend. Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
540-0580. Rick, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
I have a question. I'm attempting to get some pictures from the state police of an auto accident. And I went down to the headquarters, and they told me I need to get a court order to get those pictures from them. And I have no idea what that means. I mean, I called up the courthouse, and they said, well, you got to get a lawyer and to do that. But I don't know any lawyers. I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, but you got one anyhow here on the air. So here's the issue. Here's the dealio. Let me ask it this way. What do you want the photos for? Let's start there. Just for posterity? Are you going to sue somebody or what?
No, we're not going to sue anybody. Well, there's actually two reasons. I know the family was involved with it, and they would like to have them. And number two is I take a lot of pictures for the fire department, and we were, there just to, this is the crash we were at. We have like a little album that we keep. And unfortunately that day nobody took any pictures, but the state police did. So it does not involve any lawsuits. It's just people want to see them,
And that's the reason I asked that is because if you have an open lawsuit, then you can simply subpoena them. Otherwise, I guess you would just do a miscellaneous action. So there'd be a couple different ways to get the photos. As a general rule, the state police will respond to a subpoena, for instance, in a civil lawsuit. If I have a car accident and I'm doing one of my car accident personal injury cases, I just send over a subpoena and they'll send me the photographs. Some local police departments will provide them to a party who was in the accident who wants them. But again, they usually won't just send them out to anybody who wants them. And investigatory records like that are generally not public. Dan's shaking his head, so he's the expert on that. Anyhow, I guess that's the best answer I could give you is if you saw a lawyer, we might be able to come up with a way to get him. But without a subpoena or a court order, they don't have to provide them. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, that's what they told me. I need a court order. What the best way to get the court order would be, I don't know. I mean, what am I saying to the judge? I want to get pictures of something, and he's going to say, why do you want them? I guess if I say the fire department would like to have them for their records, maybe that gets us there. Mm-hmm.
All right, brother?
Okay. What's something like that? I mean, services a lawyer usually costs.
Well, that's the bad news. Is you're probably looking at, $300 or $400 just to get a court order. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'll have to sit down and figure if it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the $20 question, or in this case, the $400 question.
Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, brother. Take care. 540-0580, Carl Rominger. I'm broadcasting live from Shooting the X here in Carlisle, and I'm just going to keep talking about it because I know people come and go. I mean, I'm well aware that nobody in their right mind actually sits down and listens to 2 hours of me talking. On the other hand, I'm sure some of you get in your car and you're in for 20 minutes or so. You're driving around for 10. So when you do, that's why I have to repeat some of this stuff. So if you are the person who actually listens for 2 hours, you're going to hear me repeat it again and again and again. But if you're just joining us, you're going to learn that I'm at Shooting the X in Carlisle, where we are looking right down the range right here. It's a great pop-up range. They're mechanical targets that pop up. There's one that actually runs. It's for bow and arrow shooting, compound bows, crossbows, and there's even some recurves I've seen here. So anyhow, if you're an archery shooter or you want to get into archery shooting, you want to stop in at Shooting the X and learn a little bit more about it. And right now, if you stop in the next hour or so, you're going to be able to shoot for free, and you can shoot against me, and if you win, you'll get additional free shooting time as well. And then tonight they're having a grocery shoot. That's at 7 o'clock, so hopefully you'll come down for that. They're expecting a pretty big crowd. I'm going to take a break here in a second. When I get back, I'm going to talk with Dave about an out-of-control neighbor. But before I take Dave's call, I'm going to tell him one of the hardest things about being a lawyer is the neighbor phone calls because, it's kind of like, you want me to come over to your house and club your neighbor? I can certainly do it. I can drag them through court. I can make their life miserable. But at the end of the day, they're still your neighbor. So when I get back from the break, we'll talk about neighbor disputes. 540-0580, Carl Rominger broadcasting live from Shooting the X. I'll see you after the break. Five 540-0580, Carl Rominger here. We're just watching somebody shoot the crossbow. In fact, I just uploaded a video of it to Facebook, so it should be available there shortly. So if you're not a friend of mine on Facebook, just friend me. I accept all friend requests for the most part. Well, except Shane's. I booted Shane off my page. Yeah, I did. Because I'm mean, that's right. 540-0580, I'm very mean. Dave, are you with me, brother? Dave? Rob, we got Rob running around the studio like a cyclone, I think. Dave, are you with me? Dave? Oh, no. We lost Dave. Dave was the high guy from High Spire whose neighbor was out of control, but I think we lost him. So, Dan, you were going to say something about neighbors that were out of control. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, number one, I sympathize with them. I've been involved in a couple neighbor disputes. And
everywhere he moves, he has a neighbor dispute. Imagine that.
It's the worst. I mean, you both invested in a piece of property. You both call it home. You both think you're right, and you both don't want to leave. And every day you get to see each other walking out the driveway. I mean,
and sometimes, Dan, if you had to deal with somebody who has a neighbor dispute in your capacity as your other job, how would you handle that?
Well, the first one, I think, the rule of thumb is trying to get a common ground between two people. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. Based on the frequency of calls that we get, sooner or later, there's going to be a mediation with your local district justice. I know in Cumberland County, we have a great district justice, Judge Brubaker, and she does some mediations between neighbors, and it usually works out for the best. But let's hope it doesn't have to go that far, and they can get some common ground.
All right. Did we find Dave from High Spire now? Hey, Dave.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. What's going on with your neighbor, brother?
Well, they moved in about a year and a half ago, and it seems like every other day they're calling the cops on us because of we have a business there and we have parking there, and if our customers don't park, right up against our fence, he calls and says they're sticking too far out, and in crazy things. They're calling the cops because my son's basketball hit his garage, cement garage. We got flooded out last week, and we were pumping water out of our basement, and it was going down the alleyway, and then a little bit of the water was going in his yard, so he called the cops.
Well, I got good news for you. I guess the local police force is starting to get annoyed with him, I would hope.
Very annoyed, yes. And we
actually
went to a mediator. We actually we didn't go yet, but we tried to set up a mediator, and they refused to go to the mediator. We're trying to resolve this issue. We have been trying for, a year and a half, and they refused to go to a mediator. And the police come and they have to come because of, being called, but they pretty much are at their wits' end with these people too. And then not only us do they call on our other neighbors. So
the police are just going to have to.
We just don't know what to do. I mean, where do we go from here? I mean, my wife is at her wits' end, and we just want to know if there's a recourse that we can take with the district justice.
At a certain point, I guess you might be able to get somebody to file harassment charges against them. That's a tough one, though. The other possibility is maybe a restraining order of some type. But I can tell you, and I know a really good judge who's a common pleas judge who's said in court a few times, I just can't make people not be idiots.
Well, that's a good word for them. I can tell you that.
And really, I mean, I've heard him say it before, and say, I can order this, I can order that, but I just can't prevent people from being idiots.
Well, that's what the police officer says. They said that they can tell them. They've told them. We've been told by the police, to not have contact. He actually said the F word to my 11-year-old son.
Oh, that's classy.
Yeah, that's real classy. And then, in my wife's sitting in their office and he's mouthing stuff to her. It's like, get a life, man. We don't know what to do, though, because it's really upsetting my wife. Me, I could really care less, but she has to deal with it all day. And I just thought there's, something we could do. We don't want to go out and spend $1,000 on a lawyer. Why should we have to do that?
Dave, I got a couple suggestions for you, if you'll take them.
Yeah,
Dan's uniquely qualified for this. He's not allowed to say what his other job is, but trust me, it's a good one.
Dave, what I would do if I were you is, first of all, I would document everything that's going on. I would document the profanity toward your son.
Well, we have done all that, so.
Okay, I'm gonna take you right through. I'm gonna take you right around the bases and get you back to home base here.
Okay, great.
All right. From the couple minutes here that you talked to me, I can tell that you're a pretty grounded individual, and I think you're pretty of sound mind, and I think you're just in a bad position. But based on the things that you've told me already, I can tell you have probably a whole police force that are allies. From the things that you're telling me, the police department's probably getting tired of responding to that individual because now he's demonstrated that it's not just you, it's your other neighbors, and some of the things that they're responding for. If what you're saying is
it's ridiculous,
accurate, it's ridiculous. So just to sum this up, I would say document it. The police are going to be your ally. Sooner or later, you're going to get to the point where it becomes harassment, and you'll have probably a whole police department to testify on your behalf.
Right.
Okay.
And then where do we take that to? The district justice, or?
Yeah, and at some point you may want to just talk. The next time the police are out, you may say, "Listen, I was thinking." Talk to a lawyer on the radio. They'll laugh at you, and you can say, they suggested maybe that we figure out a way to file a summary harassment charge against these people for just constantly calling. And I actually had a judge one time say to somebody, the fact that you're complaining, I'm going to quit this guy, but if you call in again, I'm going to tell the police to arrest you because it seems to me that you're harassing these people.
Right. Well, that's and the funny thing is, when they first moved in, we invited them over to our house. We, said if you need anything, we welcome you to the neighborhood. And, just one car being parked in the alleyway, like that he didn't like, and he calls the police. So,
no good deed goes unpunished. Remember that.
Absolutely.
All right, my friend. I wish I had better answers for you.
Good luck, Dave.
No, that helps out, man, and we'll keep documenting. And at some point in time, I guess we'll just have to file charges, or at the district justice. But I enjoy your program, and I just thought I'm driving along here, and I'd call and see if you had some good advice for me. But
I appreciate that. I appreciate you listening to the show. We always like that. And if you know anybody that shoots bow, send them down here to Shooting the X, okay?
Well, actually, I do myself, but I'm on my way to Jersey hunting, so.
Well, come see us, Dave.
Yeah, stop in sometime. You'll actually like it. This indoor pop-up range is pretty nice, and trust me, when it's February, it's going to be really nice.
That sounds great. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, brother. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Jerry, you're on the air. Do I have Jerry? Jerry has it. Yeah, Jerry, you got a question about car insurance?
Your show, usually every weekend, I really enjoy it. You have said several times when I'm in my car that there are 3 things I need on my car insurance.
Okay.
And I never get a chance to write them down. So I would appreciate it if you'd tell me what the 3 things are again, and I'll write them down this time. So
all right.
Might as well.
You want to have...
pencil and,
you want to have... Okay, yeah, maybe it's 2 things, maybe it's 5 things. I don't know. But let me tell you what I think you need on your car insurance. You want to make sure that you have uninsured, underinsured. That's the coverage. We call it UI or UIM, are the 2 shorthands for it. Those are coverages that cover you if an uninsured or underinsured driver hits you. And you want to make sure you keep those usually in the same amounts of liability insurance that you carry. Number 2 is you want to make sure you have a lot of first-party medical coverage. The state minimum is $5,000. I recommend a minimum of $100,000. And the other thing you want to make sure is if you have more than one vehicle that you are stacked, which means that your uninsured, underinsured policies will stack up if for each vehicle give you additional coverage beyond your policy limit for one car. The other thing you want to make sure is you have reasonable policy limits yourself. A lot of people don't carry, they try to carry the state minimum. Well, if you knock the bumper off of somebody's Bentley, for instance, it's going to cost more than $15,000 to put it back on. So those are kind of my general parameters. So make sure you have UIM coverage, uninsured, underinsured. Make sure that you have stacking, etc. That makes sense? Did I lose him? He must have just sat down to write them down. Well, I got to go to break anyhow. 540-0580. Guys, I'm at Shooting the X in Carlisle. Come down and shoot against me for free. I'm going to go shoot this bear during the break. Hey, 540-0580. Carl Rominger here, broadcasting live from Shooting the X in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. If you get a chance, give them a call, 254-1701. Are you looking for a bow, some archery equipment? More importantly, if you want to shoot, just come down here. They have this wonderful indoor range. In fact, we're uploading a couple videos to Facebook now, one including me, and I'm sure Dan's going to comment on the fact that the arrow is a few inches low.
A few inches. A
few inches low. But that sight pin's for basically 20 yards, and I was just doing a quick shot to help you make a video. And
well,
I just
Carl, it's not grenades, it's archery. You can get close with grenades. It's you know what I'm saying.
All right. Well, Dan, I think Dan's got some friends and family listening today, and this is going to be the one time they ever hear him on the radio if I have any say in the matter. So did you want to give a shout-out to anybody, Dan?
This cost me a lot of money to have Carl here today. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, Carl's a very good friend of mine, and I can't say enough about him. I have a uniquely occupation, and he does all my stuff. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I do want to say hello to Kimberly. Thank you for letting me leave the house today after the flood, and Lydia and Emma. I love you guys, and be home soon.
Sappy. 540-0580 if you have a legal question. Ann, what do you got going on, Ann?
You have
hello, Ann.
Bankruptcy. Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Oh. Do you handle bankruptcy cases?
We do. And if you want to call my office, it's 241-6070. 241-6070.
Okay. And is your name spelled a C or a K?
With a K. You said it's 3 inches low. Is that what you're saying, Shane?
And would you spell your last name for me, please?
241-6070 is the phone number. My name's Carl with a K. Last name's Rominger, Rominger.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. Thank you very much.
And we'll be happy to see what we can do for you. And obviously, we practice in all areas of the law. So if it's not just a bankruptcy, we'll consult with you, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. You take care. 540-0580, broadcasting live from Shooting the X. Charles, are you available?
Hi.
Hey, Charles. What's going on?
Oh, how you doing, sir? I have a quick question about a custody issue. The woman I'm involved with, my girlfriend, we're living together. She has 3 children, and she is filing for custody from her ex-husband. And her lawyer told me I had to go get an evaluation done through the state or the county. I'm not sure if it's the county or the state.
Because you live with her, right?
Yes, we all live together. And I was wondering, is that necessary, and what to expect from that?
Well, this new custody law requires that anybody who's living with anybody or who is the parent in the custody action, if they have any certain enumerated criminal offenses, has to get the evaluation. Also, the court can require the evaluation on its own motion or for any good cause shown. So, long and short of it, it's basically an evaluation just to make sure that you're not a serial killer or child molester and otherwise a detriment to the children. So it shouldn't be that difficult, assuming you don't have any major impediments.
Well, I do have a felony that happened in 2001. It was a drug charge.
Okay.
But, I've been clean.
Yeah, and that's then what triggered this evaluation. And what the evaluator's going to be sure about is that A, you're no longer engaging in those kinds of activities, and B, to the extent that you once did, it isn't going to have a present effect on the children. You should be fine.
Okay, great.
Unless you're still slinging hash, okay?
No, I'm good. All right, well, thanks, Carl. You have a great day.
All right, brother, take care. Oh, Dan's laughing at me. Who else? Edward's gone. Oh, Edward wanted to talk about his experience with PA insurance law. That's too bad. I wanted to kind of talk about that myself. Well, anyhow, while we're here, again, I just want to remind you guys, there is a shoot tonight, and it's called a grocery shoot. It's basically what we used to call meat shoot, like I say. And you come out, you shoot with your bow, you shoot against other people in rounds, and if you win, you can take home a quarter prime of beef or a gun. It's free for kids 15 and under. And so there's no good excuse unless, like the other guy, you're driving to New Jersey to go hunting, which I kind of envy him right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I know you can bow hunt down in Maryland right now, but certainly nobody's bow hunting in Pennsylvania. And, in fact, you're supposed to be practicing and getting your bow tuned up and make sure everything's good. So this is a great time to stop in. The shops. Dan, what are your regular hours?
We're open 7 days a week from 10 in the morning to 8 at night, Monday through Saturday, and then Sundays 10 to 6. And we have a bow tech here on duty 7 days a week.
Gotcha. So when I'm sure that the reason that my arrow is 6 inches low, like it is down there in the Bear, is because the bow is obviously defective. The bow tech can go over everything and fix it.
Definitely. I think that sight's a little off. I don't think it's you.
You don't think? Good. I'll tell you what. Actually, I use one pin, so at that distance, I need to give it a little upwindage. Pete, you're on the air.
I'm sorry?
Pete, you're on the air.
Oh, hey, Carl. I have a question with regards to pardons. Several years ago, I was convicted of a crime, and at the time, my attorney had mentioned that I could apply for a pardon.
Okay.
And I guess my question is, do they still offer these? Does the governor's office still grant these pardons?
Yeah, they still grant pardons, but rarely. And really, if your attorney is saying, they plead guilty and you can possibly get a pardon, that's kind of like saying you could also win the Powerball, too. I mean, in all frankness. So it's that difficult to get. But if it's been 10 years, you can certainly apply. And I personally am not really doing pardons anymore, but I would refer you to a woman I know that does them if you want to contact me off the air so you could get an evaluation and consultation with her.
Okay. Are you saying, though, that it should be at least 10 years?
Yeah, you should wait at least 10 years. Basically, I'm told, and I could send you to this other attorney and let her go over it with you, but basically, I'm told that you got to wait at least 10 years because they won't even really process your application.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, he sort of led me to believe that, I could apply right away.
Yeah, just take this guilty plea. As soon as your sentence is over and they release you from probation, you can apply for a pardon. I'd punch him if I saw him again.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'm not counseling you to, but that
sounds
to me
like a confession.
Well, Dan, to me that sounds like terrible advice, and I just have to say that whoever told you that, and I don't want to name because obviously I can't defend them here on the air or know whether you're telling the truth or not. But my point is, if that's what impression they left you with, because the impression I like to leave people with is you're going to have a crime and it's going to stick with you for life, and so before we just plead guilty, consider very carefully what you want to be doing in your future and how this is going to affect you, and we go over the collateral consequences. And I get very angry that there is a bunch of, I don't know what you want to call them, ham and egg, greasy courtroom criminal attorneys who don't go over this stuff with people. And you wouldn't think it happens because it seems like most of the attorneys I know are very professional and most of the attorneys I know are very capable. But for some reason, and particularly in the criminal realm, I think in the hubbub of the courtroom and people trying to talk people into getting a guilty plea done and over. And it might have been in your best interest. You may have had no defense and you may have had to plead guilty, but you should have known the exact consequences of what you were doing at the time, and you should have been informed of it, and it makes me angry. Sorry, Pete.
Right. Okay.
All right.
I appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
brother. Yeah, I get so mad about that because why? And Dan, you've obviously been inside a courtroom once or twice and probably heard what's going on, and the idea that somebody walks up there and pleads guilty to something that's going to impair their ability for life to get a job or affect their ability to be a nurse or own a firearm, and the courts are like, you don't have to be instructed about this. So the judge has no duty to tell you about it. But to actively mislead somebody down the primrose path of, well, you can get this expunged someday. Well, no, you can't get felonies and misdemeanors expunged unless you get a pardon. And the odds of getting a pardon in this state for anything serious are about zero.
No, you're absolutely right. And I have been in those courtroom situations. And, something I wanted to mention that you had said, maybe that was in his best interest. But even going forward, he should have known that it's going to affect anything he wants to have, be, or do, with regards to the rest of his life. And
yeah. So
I applaud you for that.
Well, it's just kind of annoying because I get so many phone calls where people really honestly thought either, and actually, sometimes if you went back and actually probably heard what the lawyer actually said to him, it wasn't as optimistic as they wanted because, it's sort of like when somebody's laying in the bed and they're dying of cancer and they think they hear the doctor say that they have a chance of survival or something, and the doctor's going, I didn't say that, but their mind is really wanting to find something. And so it may well be that as well, but it sounds like he was basically like, no, just plead guilty and get a pardon later and it'll all go away and it'll be off your record. There's also some big lie on the street that everybody seems to think a DUI disappears after 7 or 10 years, and I have to keep explaining to them that's the mandatory minimum. All right, guys, I have to go. We're at Shooting the Axe. Stop in. You get a chance to shoot me. 233 Allen Road, Carlisle. Call in 254-1701. And the very famous Randy Heichman is here, so I think I'm going to shoot against him next.
Hey, Carl, thanks a lot for coming today, and thanks for your time.
All right, see you guys next week. Randy, you're going down, buddy. You're going down. Oh, you didn't come to shoot your...